Sorry, but I had an accident during the trip and the car got totaled.
Huh? Amy said in a casual tone. Fortunately, it seems she wasn't seriously injured, but the car got wrecked, and she said she couldn't return it. It was right after she promised to return the car next week after joyriding it without permission. I was suddenly at a loss for words. My mind went blank due to the sudden turn of events. Amy, without any apology, began to speak to me in a derogatory manner. Fueled by simmering anger, I decided to take revenge on Amy.
Hey, what on earth did you tell my husband? What's this invoice about?
Amy presented me with a physical document that served as a simple proof of what occurred. It outlined that Amy scrapped our car and the payment required for compensation. It's written right here. As compensation, I'll deduct $150,000 from your husband's salary for the purchase of a new car. Amy seemed pale when confronted with the truth, but that didn't stop her from looking down on me and loudly blustering. It's too late for anything now. Since she didn't apologize or have any manners, I have no intention of forgiving my friend. I'm Ashley. Due to my husband's work, I've recently moved into this apartment. I was worried about making friends in this new place, but on moving day, a neighbor, Amy, quickly approached me. She lives on the same floor. At first, I felt Amy was really kind. She would tell me about the local schools and such, and she was even friendly with my kids. Amy introduced me to her friends, and we quickly hit it off, so I was really grateful for that. As I got closer to Amy, she started bringing up money matters like living expenses more often. At first, I thought she might be venting her worries about the future, given the current times, but there were also remarks comparing my family to hers on several occasions, which raised some concerns.
My husband is a department manager at his company, but his salary isn't anything special.
Still, being a department manager is impressive.
Yeah, I guess so, but he probably earns more than the average person.
That's probably true, right?
Maybe. Like, this bag I bought is from a brand that costs $2,000, but I was able to buy it.
Despite being modest about her husband's salary and position, she frequently brought up the topic and then encouraged me afterward. I don't own brand-name wallets or bags like the ones she often has. Perhaps Amy thought I was struggling because my husband earns less. I kept my husband's status and salary in the dark, thinking it was not something to talk about. But Amy must have thought that my husband's earnings were too low to tell everyone. However, there were often times when indirectly, because she was short on money from buying such bags, she would frequently make me treat her to meals. At first, because I thought Amy genuinely cared about me and was taking care of me, I sometimes treated her to meals. My concerns about her behavior began about 2 months after moving. Amy often invited me to join her when going out with our other mom friends, saying she wanted me to get along with them too. While I appreciated her showing me nice shopping places or lunch, what bothered me was that I always had to drive.
Ashley, your car is really nice and it seems perfect for outings, doesn't it?
The car I usually use is somewhat of a luxury car, and Amy was so curious about it that she would ask detailed questions about its price and maintenance costs. Even though I responded vaguely, saying it costs quite a bit. However, since then, Amy started suggesting using my car whenever possible. At first, thinking I would soon be relying on others for help as well, I gladly let her use my car. However, as Amy began to act as if it were a given, my dissatisfaction grew. So I decided to consult another mom friend whom I often go out with. Your car is lovely, but it must be tough to drive every time. Yes, it is. So I'm thinking of asking someone else in the future to drive or go to nearby shops. When I gently mentioned this, my mom friends exchanged glances and tilted their heads. When I asked what was wrong, they said that what I told them was different from what they heard from Amy. Amy said that you insisted on being in charge of driving because you really wanted to show off your car.
I guess you want to make a big deal about the fact that it's a luxury car.
What? I wouldn't go to the trouble of lending my car just for that kind of thing. Definitely not. Instead, I told them that I reluctantly drove because Amy asked me to lend her the car. Then my Mom friends exchanged glances and tilted their heads. I wonder which one of us is the show-off.
Well, it's Amy after all.
With a sense of somehow realizing who was lying, my friends sympathized with me and apologized for everything that had happened so far. I suggested to Amy that we should refrain from outings by car in the future, so I decided to take this opportunity to also distance myself from her a little. It seems that my discussion eventually spread around the neighborhood, and as a result, interactions with neighbors themselves became more calm and settled. It seems like other moms also felt uncomfortable with Amy's habits as they started hanging out with her less often, just like me. Amy started blaming me for the decreased frequency of outings with neighbors and expressing her dissatisfaction towards me.
Isn't it cruel to repay kindness with ingratitude, especially when I've been so nice to you?
Even so, it's troubling to be lied to for no reason.
It's not true. What else would you use such a luxury car for except to show off?
With each counter, Amy began to voice her dissatisfaction, accusing me of having a bad attitude. Furthermore, baseless rumors began to circulate, suggesting that I was ostracizing Amy. Though acquaintances understood to some extent that Amy's behavior was deceitful, but those whom didn't often speak with started to look at me with suspicion. Frustrated by Amy's harassment, I asked her not to do such things, and she started demanding that I lend her the car. Since riding in my car, Amy sometimes acted as if it were her own, so it was clear she was using it as an excuse. Refusing only intensified Amy's harassment, making it heat up even more. One time, we went to a social gathering for a school event, and Amy started talking about me, still blaming me. Even when others tried to calm Amy down, she wouldn't listen. In the end, she even started claiming that I was manipulating those around me to harass her. Surely no one believed such a story, so Amy ended up being left out. While the situation seemed to be settled at the time, I couldn't shake off my uneasy feelings. Despite being relieved that there were no children present, I was still troubled by the thought of having to deal with Amy in the future. An incident occurred the next day. Huh? The car's gone. Heading towards the parking lot to go shopping, my car was nowhere to be seen in its usual spot. Additionally, although I always keep the car keys in the key case, I couldn't find it anywhere in my bag. Since I hadn't driven the car since yesterday, I hadn't left it anywhere. I searched all over the house, but no matter where I looked, I couldn't find it, so I panicked and tried to contact my husband. That's when I received a call from Amy.
Ashley, I'm glad you picked up.
What's going on? I'm busy right now.
Oh, is it about the car by any chance?
Huh? Do you know something? Amy chuckled at my panicked voice. If the car had been stolen, I'd have to call the police. A sense of dread crept over me when Amy called just as I was thinking about that.
Since I'm the one borrowing it now, obviously there's no car.
Huh? What do you mean?
It means exactly what it sounds like. I borrowed it because you wouldn't give me a ride.
Why? What about the car keys? You didn't...
The back zipper was open yesterday, so I figured it out right away. Did you really want to brag that badly?
Riding around in someone else's car without permission, her selfish attitude made my blood boil. I was shocked that she would do such a thing, but I quickly asked her to return it. However, Amy claimed she was away on a trip and couldn't return it over the weekend.
I'll consider returning it next week.
All right. Even though she was an acquaintance, I couldn't just overlook her behaving like a thief. But she wasn't the type of person I could vent my anger at over the phone. Moreover, I didn't want to escalate things by demanding the car back without a proper discussion. When my husband came home from work in the evening, I explained the situation to him. Despite chuckling at Amy's story, my husband agreed to have a discussion with her when she returned. I hoped that the matter would be resolved amicably through discussion alone. So, on Monday morning after my husband returned from work, I reached out to Amy again to arrange a discussion. But Amy's response left me speechless.
Sorry, the car got into an accident during the trip and ended up being totaled.
Huh? Amy said this in a nonchalant tone. Fortunately, it seems she wasn't seriously injured, but she claimed the car was severely damaged and couldn't be returned.
You have insurance, right? Take care of the payments, okay?
Oh, wait, hold on. I need a proper explanation. Despite my attempts to ask about the accident details and the car's condition, Amy kept evading the topic of money. Instead, she repeatedly talked about her own injuries to evoke sympathy. Although she hadn't been hospitalized, it seemed Amy had no intention of compensating for the car, citing a lack of funds for her medical expenses.
We all know how much my husband earns, right? We're really short on money.
Even if that's the case, you can't just...
Then what? Are you saying I should pay for my serious injuries?
Of course, you rode around in someone else's car without permission, wrecked it, and now you won't compensate for it?
You were flaunting that fancy car anyway. Aren't you glad you don't have to pay maintenance costs anymore?
Amy hung up the phone after spouting her nonsensical argument. My husband Harry, who had been listening nearby, sighed, realizing the conversation wasn't productive.
I've heard about this for a long time, but this is outrageous.
Amy's husband seems to be a department manager, but I wonder if he is that strapped for cash.
I thought we were paying our people well enough.
What? What are you talking about? When I asked, it seems Harry knew Amy's husband. Actually, Amy's husband seems to work at the same company as Harry, holding a director position just as Amy mentioned.
If the person who caused the accident has that attitude, it's no wonder. Leave the rest to me.
Are you sure about this?
Don't worry, it's more of an inconvenience without a car. Let's go see it on our next day off.
Harry suggested this, so I decided to leave the discussion about the car to him. Although I tried to act cheerful, that car was Harry's favorite, so he must have been quite angry. The next day, Harry called Amy's husband to the office for a discussion.
Sorry for calling you out of the blue. It's okay, but what's the matter? How do you feel about your current salary? I think I'm receiving enough. Do you have enough financial flexibility? Well, to some extent. By the way, what's the meaning of this question? Actually, it's about your wife.
After discussing between husbands, it seems Amy's husband had a completely different explanation about Amy's accident. Amy seemed to have explained that I was driving the car during the accident and even portrayed me as a horrible person for not paying compensation.
I'm sorry, but that's just the way she behaves. I deeply apologize for causing such trouble to the president and madam. Yeah, about that, regarding compensation for the car. We will make sure to pay.
On the evening Harry resolved the issue, Amy visited our home.
Hey, what did you say to my husband?
I didn't say anything. It seems like they talked it out between themselves.
What's this invoice for?
Amy presented me with a physical document that was likely a hastily prepared proof of content exchanged between the husbands during their discussion. There is a note there about Amy scrapping our car and the payment for reimbursement.
What's this? And this? What's the meaning of this?
It's for compensation. It says we'll deduct $150,000 from your husband's salary for the purchase of a new car.
What is this? You're really greedy for money, aren't you? It's not just about you.
That's you, isn't it? You keep telling convenient lies.
And I didn't know your husband was the president. I thought he was poor.
Is it okay to look down on someone just because they're poor? Amy berated me loudly at the doorstep for a while. It seemed like Amy's husband had already decided on the new car amidst all the commotion. Given the substantial amount involved, I stopped talking and closed the door. Yet, Amy continued to pound on the door and shout, so I asked Harry to have Amy's husband come pick her up.
I'm sorry. I'll talk to my wife sternly about this.
What? Why should I apologize?
Cut it out.
Neighbors came to see the commotion, making me feel embarrassed. Amy's husband, who arrived promptly despite the stares, grabbed Amy and made her apologize. Even though Amy's husband hadn't done anything wrong, he apologized humbly, making us feel ashamed, and then he took Amy away. Amy never showed any sign of remorse, pointing at me until the end and insisting that she wasn't at fault. Afterwards, it seems her husband gave her a stern talking to. She started ignoring me, even when I looked at her, and eventually she disappeared altogether. The children seemed puzzled by her absence at school events at first, but soon they stopped caring. Hearing that the kids were doing fine at school reassured me. Amy's husband was furious about her lies and came to our house to express his dissatisfaction. This, along with Amy's attitude, seemed to push their marriage to the brink of divorce. Regarding the car, it was agreed between the husband that the expenses would be deducted from Amy's husband's salary as per the formal agreement they made. However, Amy's misdeeds reached both families, and she was forced to move far away to her parents' house. According to Amy's husband, she's now working part-time under her parents' surveillance. It seems she's not allowed to return until she repays the car expenses her husband paid for. As for us, my husband recently purchased that infamous new car. Although it's an expensive luxury vehicle, it's my husband's hobby, so I didn't say anything about it. Amy's husband seems to be working hard to repay the car compensation, and this effort is contributing to the smooth operation of his business. Thanks to this, the company's management seems to be going smoothly. I heard from Harry that, with her parents covering the expenses, a divorce settlement is imminent, and now her husband seems relieved.
Nice car.
Would you like to go out together sometime? Lately, I've been hanging out with nice mom friends who are polite and kind, and we're having a good time together.